hear a motion to approve the regular claims at $335,412.30?
I'll make a motion to approve the claims.
Have a motion by Joel. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 3-0 Sheila. Next would be the approval of payroll at $254,052.22. Do I hear a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve payroll.
Have a motion by Bob. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Sorry, seconded by Joel. Got ahead of myself there a little bit, Sheila. And out of cycle claims, we have utilities, COVID clinic, redevelopment, 2022 election, and all 5 Visa cards. Do I hear a motion to approve for $64,106.89?
I'll make that motion to approve the out-of-cycle claims.
I have a motion by Bob. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Seconded by Joel. All in favor?
Aye.
Folks, take us just a few minutes to get through these. And while we're doing this, I'll take a second to introduce our new attorney, Dana Kerr. For those who have not met him, it's Mr. Kerr sitting here. Glad to have him on this morning. All right. Next on the agenda is the Health Department building and the RQAW
Take my pen right
Oh, no.
quote.
No, it didn't.
We've been working on this for a little over a year now, and I think we've finally come to a conclusion. We have got a quote here. Dana's looked at it from an engineering firm, RC Engineers, which is a subcontractor of RQAW. They've come up with a proposal to put a bid project together for us at a fee of $22,000. As soon as these gentlemen finish up with their signatures, we'll move forward with this discussion. I'm sure the town of Spencer would like to get that sidewalk back opened up. We're working on that, Mike. No. I don't blame you. I know what you're saying. Bob, if you had a chance to take a look at this, you should have it in your packet.
Yeah, oh yeah, I did.
Okay. Gentlemen, you have any discussions on this quote? We've been waiting for some time. Finally, it's come to a conclusion here. I'd like to make the motion that we go ahead and move forward with this at $22,000 so we can get this out for bid. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Have a second, motion by myself, second by Bob. All in favor? Aye. Sheila will pay for this out of CUMCAT, please. And I can notify them of the acceptance. Okay, new business. Is it Pam Rogers or Irene Rogers? Come on up, Pam.
Thank you.
Bob, I'm gonna turn this over to you. We
Yeah.
had,
Approach.
yes, sit right here.
Thank you.
Bob is the member of the council that is on, or excuse me, the commission that's on the planning commission. And I'm gonna let him deal with this situation moving forward here this morning. Go ahead, Bob.
we're gonna give you 3 minutes, Pam, and present whatever you wanna present. And we think, as planning commission, we've done everything that we humanly possible by the state, Okra, and everybody else, so go ahead and say what you're gonna say.
Respectfully, sir, that doesn't fit protocol. When I am on an agenda, there's not a 3-minute limitation. That was not, any type of arrangements that was made previously. This is not a statement at a public hearing. I'm actually on the agenda. I am not required to adhere to a 3-minute window. Going forward, you have in front of you materials that have been sent over the last few months regarding the current status of the comprehensive plan. You are aware that false documents were submitted, that there was a state of an emergency declared by Owen County, and on the date that you stated there was a public hearing, it was illegal and unlawful for the public to attend the meeting that you held, and that you certified to the state of Indiana had been held as a public hearing. During this meeting, you also endorsed and approved 2 documents. One was the Ready Initiative, and the other one was approving to obtain a grant to proceed with filing for this grant. The documents that were sent in, signed by Mr. Burton, identifies these monies in this grant as being used for all of Owen County. Very specifically, and even with the reference materials, it identifies that the comprehensive plan would apply to all persons within Owen County. The statistics used, even the statistics for low income, were derived from other than the scope of the authority of this comprehensive plan. In your cover letter, you were given specific references that identified not only had you declared order number 2021-01 a local disaster emergency, and then you certified that there was a public hearing, you also approved the ROI Uplands Initiative on that date. And in the letter dated March 15th, 2021, it states that the project will benefit all residents of Owen County, and that you've developed a list of all households from Owen County from the building department. A letter was confirmed by the town of Spencer that the comprehensive plan does not cover the scope of the town of Spencer or Gosport. However, statistics were used in application for the grant that did include that. Under your attachment B, it states that any changes to the service area for the request to ORCA to conduct income survey, a new service area had to be submitted. That was not completed. The surveys that were stated to have been done to obtain the information have been requested through public documents. They've not been produced. They have not been able to be located in the newspaper where it states that they were published. There's no certification, and the newspaper, nor the library, nor 2 researchers can find the reference to the publications. Once the process got started, the initial steering committee sent out information that said economic, the Owen County Economic Comprehensive Plan. There is an economic comprehensive plan that is different than the land use plan. For the 4 first initial steering committee meetings, everything was directed towards an economic plan. I attended, I was invited to be on the steering committee. At that committee, I was unable to get even the basic, what is our current zone map?
Who invited you to be on that committee?
Mr. Warner, Norman Warner,
Okay.
president.
Marcy, you know anything about that?
All of the meetings were open to the public, however, the steering committee was requested to be specific individuals.
Right.
Mrs. Rogers was never asked to formally be upon the steering committee.
Okay. So she was just an attendee from the
That's
public?
correct. Along with many other people
I would like
Correct.
to ask that then too, because Mr. Burton, your name appears now under the steering committee.
Was on there from day one.
No, sir, it's not on any of the steering committee minutes, notes, you are not
I
listed.
attended one meeting.
And
There's an answer for that.
going forward to the requests that were made.
What is your request here? What is it that you're wanting? What is you're asking for? Instead of going through 2 hours worth of paperwork here, let's just get to the bottom of this. What is it that you're looking for?
You have the request in front of you, it's sent to you by letter, you've already read that. The request is that you do not approve the comprehensive plan as it reads, that you send it back to the plan commission, and that at the plan commission, the errors, the discrepancies, and the mistakes are corrected, that complete information regarding references. You have to, when you refer to a particular document that you didn't produce, you're required to follow a protocol on that reference. They've not been done. You have materials, documents, and maps used within the comprehensive plan that are completely inaccurate. Those were sent to you, a comment was made, well, we didn't obtain the map, it came from USDA. That map was altered. The legend doesn't match the map. So going on with what is the request? The request is you cannot approve.
Yes, go ahead, Dana.
Since there is not a specific, there's no application for anything, there's no oral filing for anything as far as action needed by the commissioners on this item. So it is at your discretion as the president of the commissioners to define the framework in which you allow. So if you want to restrict it to just asking what it is specifically you want to request,
Which I just did.
if you want, right, if you want to limit it to a period of time, that is fine. This is more in the nature of a public comment, and the commissioners graciously put it on the agenda so that there will be an opportunity to hear what you had to say. However, you are not required to continue this past the time that you believe that you've collected enough information to proceed. So I know that you've been inundated with emails and things which include a lot of what's being said. So you've had, there have been public comments on the plan already. So it's up to your discretion as president of the commissioners to, again, determine how much time and to determine when it's over and what it is that you want from the information, which again you did, asking what the actual request was.
Thank you, sir. And then
You're not entitled, you're not required to even respond. And this is more in the nature of this comment.
Correct.
So you're not required to respond to those comments. A lot of people don't realize this. It's not a time for give and take with the commission. It's the time when the commission does allow to just hear from the community here. Any back and forth, if there needs to be any, doesn't have to be done in the meeting. Just because somebody asks a question, it does not have to be answered. So you're in charge of the meeting.
Sure. Well, I appreciate that very much, Mr. Kerr.
thank you, sir. Then I will make it very brief and I will answer your question.
We're gonna give you, listen to me, we're gonna give you 2 more minutes. And that's being very gracious.
In front of you is a petition in opposition to the comprehensive plan. You're requested to table this and send it back to the plan commission. Additionally, in front of you is documentation to show that the scope of work has not been completed by either the consultants or the grant overseer. Very specifically, in the scope of work, it says that there will be identified a budget the cost, a time frame to complete these items that is in your bullet point scope of work for this project, and no place in the comprehensive plan do those factors exist. So on the very last line, it says, under scope of work, formal document, that this plan will include cost estimates and the schedule for completion of recommended improvements. This plan has no identification of how to pay for your support, how to bring in more government, more employees. It has to do with housing, but not for your immediate infrastructure. And because of the technical portions of them not completing the scope of work,
Your time's up.
you
Thank you
cannot
very
approve
much.
this. And if you do so knowingly that the scope of work is not complete.
Excuse me, your time's up. Thank you. And with that being said, we will
Thank you
let
very much, Pam.
SIDI come up and, DC, said that wrong. And we'll let you defend yourself here a little bit before we move forward.
All right. Good morning, Commissioners, and thank you. My name is Matt Sword with Southern Indiana Development Commission. And as you know, we did have the public hearing November the 15th in front of the Planning Commission as required with the grant. At that point, they made the recommendation, and that's why we're here today. Just wanted to real quick go through the application and the planning process. Comprehensive planning grant application was submitted to the Office of Community and Rural Affairs on July 15th, 2021. The application went through a threshold review process to make sure that it included the required documentation, such as public hearing information, signature pages, in order to be funded. The application also had to meet a minimum scoring requirement in order to be funded. The application passed the threshold review and met the minimum scoring requirement and was funded on September 10th, 2021. That was awarded through a letter that was sent to Owen County. A draft of the comprehensive plan was submitted to Okra in June of 2022, and then a revised copy of the plan was sent to Okra in September of 2022. Okra, which is the state agency that oversees these planning grant funds, reviewed the plan to ensure it meets the minimum technical specifications for a comprehensive plan, and they approved the plan on October 18th, 2022, meaning it met their requirements. So I'm confident that Owen County has met all of the state and federal requirements, not only for the planning process, but for the application itself.
Matt, can I ask you a question? Take a
Sure.
quick pause here. Between yourself and Scott, how many of these plans have you put together for various counties throughout the state of Indiana?
Comprehensive plans, probably 7 to 10 for me. As far as planning grants, planning grants can cover a lot of different things. We've done several for the town of Spencer with the wastewater park plan. So a lot of experience just in planning in general, and then Scott, you can speak.
I've probably done 12 or 15 of these comp plans all around the states for towns and counties, all of them have been approved.
Have any of them been, so they've all been approved, no rejections?
All of them have been approved.
Okay, thank you, Scott.
So I believe at this time, Scott had a brief presentation with the comp plan.
Thank you all. Thank you for working through this long process. Good news is that there's tremendous public engagement during this planning process or comp plan, which is very encouraging for the plan itself, but also for the continuing community discussion on the county's future. I've done many plans before, and I've never seen the level of public engagement that I have here in Owen County. It's been tremendous. There were 240 people about at the public meeting we had, which is a record for me. Most of the public comments initially centered around a few key issues, and we've made extensive changes to the plans to address all of those. Those are the land use map, the mid-states corridor, mobile homes, accessory dwelling units. With this document, the county now has the research and the background needed to move forward, and I can confidentially report that the community is now engaged in this as you talk about the next possible steps, which might be changes to your zoning ordinances and things along those lines. Because the Plan Commission has already approved the plan, I've just put together a couple key slides that hit some of the highlights. Suzanne, we can probably move forward these pretty quickly, review the plan's key goals, questions as new, and then a request vote, summary of key points. Again, on land use, The overall finding that it's time for the county to take a careful look at the type of developments that they want and the type that they do not want. That's even quicker than I thought, Suzanne, but it's all right. There's the famous land use map, which again, we worked a lot on. The steering committee reviewed it, it was reviewed in public, it was viewed, I think, at 3 meetings of the plan commission, okay? Public facilities and services, Owen County must strategically invest in facilities and services to ensure a stable and quality level of service. Again, I'm gonna resist going point by point on Ms. Rogers' things, but I will say there is a whole section on funding in the appendix of the report of possible grant sources. Keep going. Economic development, a key thing. Owen County has more opportunities for economic development than we previously realized. I think a lot's gone on in the last 10 years, and the comp plan talks a lot about that. Housing is a key issue here. Even people that kind of want to keep things as they are recognize that the county needs a fuller range of homes so that people from all walks of life can live here. And this will take working with local neighborhoods and developers to prepare for and incentivize the type of housing that you all want.
Thank you, Scott.
Sure.
Go ahead, Matt.
I've got some administrative items now. I mean, you want me to go ahead and move forward?
Before we get to that, I want to turn it over to the county attorney. Just your overview of the plan. It's been repeated many times in this meeting, and I want to hit that one more time, that this is not law. This is a plan and a plan only. It's just a guideline for something for us to work on in the future, a direction for us to go. So
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
if you could touch on that, please.
This does not have the effect of law which limits what can and cannot be done. It is simply a guideline saying that, so when an individual project comes along, you've already looked at a lot of these things. And so the plan will help guide you, if this is a good step to take or not. And so, again, it's there for a guide. The best comprehensive plans are the ones that we call living documents, where it changes as the community changes. This community could change tremendously in 2 years if another major employer wanted to locate here. And it may change a lot of this. Or things may stay stable in this plan, doesn't need to be modified, that it tends to show what the county's direction should be. It's to encourage responsible growth, and that's all it is a guide for you. If you had to look up all the stuff that the comprehensive plan covers for each individual project that comes your way, that would be extremely cumbersome. This has a lot of the legwork done for you, so you've already looked at it and made some decisions on how, not binding decisions, but decisions how you believe at the time today that you want the county to grow and so, no, this does not have the force of law. It is not an ordinance. It is a plan, a guidebook to help, again, the county grow in a responsible manner. But again, it can change, modify anytime that you so choose if conditions can change.
Thank you very much. Gentlemen, before we let Matt continue, you have any comments, questions, concerns?
Well, I think it's important, Gary, to reiterate the fact this is not law by any stretch of the imagination. I believe people have taken an odd perspective at this, and they need to understand, those listening, it's simply a guide. It's not law. It's gonna help us improve.
It's much more than a guide. It means that
Hold it.
it means that the plan
No, there's no
comment.
Sam,
has
Sam,
to
You're not gonna
follow.
remove him, please.
You're not gonna interrupt him while he's talking. You get permission to talk, he'll let you talk. You don't interrupt the commissioners. If you interrupt again, you're out the door.
As legal counsel stated, it's simply a guide. it's not gonna inhibit further projects within the county, and it's manipulatable to build upon, and that's the point I want to make. Anything, Gary?
Yep.
Yep.
Go ahead, Matt.
Okay, so the way this plan is approved then is through resolution. We have resolution number 2022-018. Do you want me to read that? Do you want to read that?
County attorney will need to read that, Matt.
The resolution, 2022-018, is of the Board of Commissioners of Owen County, Indiana, approval of the comprehensive plan. Whereas Owen County, Indiana has identified adequate reason to complete a comprehensive plan. And whereas Owen County, Indiana has hired SV Research and Planning to define and describe the issues, advise the county of our opinions, and make recommendations to address these issues in the near future. And whereas Owen County, Indiana has received federal community development block grant dollars from the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs to fund this study, and has contributed $6,700 as a local match for this project. And whereas Owen County, Indiana has reviewed the process and completed a study thoroughly and is satisfied with the services performed, information contained therein, and methodology applied. And whereas Owen County, Indiana has received 2 copies of this document for records and will keep them on file in the building and mapping department located in the Owen County Courthouse. And whereas Owen County, Indiana has received approval of the final plan from the Indiana Office of Community and Rural Affairs, then be it resolved by Owen County, Indiana, that the final document is hereby approved.
Thank you.
Question from the floor?
One question.
Do you have the certification from the plan commission in front of you?
We have the Plan Commission's paperwork that was presented in our package.
And it is certified as plan commission accepted document?
Yeah, we have a letter from the Plan Commission. Yes, we do. It's in our packet. Moving forward, do I hear a motion to approve resolution 2022-18?
I'll make a motion we approve 2022-018.
Do I hear a second? I have a motion by Mr. Curry, seconded by Mr. Lowell. All in favor? Aye.
Here's a 2 copies of the resolution. Signed by all 3 commissioners and attested by the auditor.
There were 2 or 3 other things in there that needed.
Right.
Have those too.
Yeah, I'll go through those.
I mean, I give them copies, but.
And I've got copies of everything, so.
Go ahead, Matt. You get some other paperwork here.
So, the next thing then is, this grant does close out in the near future, so the next items would be final invoices. So there's a final invoice for SV Research and Planning in the amount of $24,000 that would be paid for out of the grant funds. Then there is an invoice from SIDC in the amount of $3,350 for grant administration, and that will be paid out of the local funds.
And that's already been approved by the county council back last year, if I'm not mistaken.
Paid from the riverboat,
Yeah,
yes.
you paid out of Riverboat. So that has already been approved by the county council. You have to excuse me, Matt, I have a ton of papers here in front of me. I'm trying to sort through them.
Take your time.
That one, the 3,500 or 3,350 does not need approved because it already has been, so we'll get that taken care of.
So then just the 24,000 we need approval today.
I'm looking for paperwork on that. Is that part of the application receipt
I've got a copy
disclosure?
right here.
Okay.
But yes, it was presented.
And that's to be paid through the grant. You wanna make a motion that all three commissioners sign this? Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
If you're signing that, you can keep that copy, I've got one, or actually Sheila can just.
I'm gonna make sure Sheila gets it for public record.
Okay.
Yep.
So the last items that I have then, they're kind of just lumped together, they're part of the closeout process. So there is a letter allowing SIDC to submit the final grant draw in about $24,000 through the Indiana Grants Management System that just needs to be signed by the Commissioner President. Then, with this one being a little different, since we did the public hearing before the Planning Commission, Norm Warner did sign a third-party authorization allowing us to conduct the public hearing in good minutes. But then I've got a letter for the Commissioner President to sign as well, since you're the lead applicant. And then just a few closeout documents. So there's a closeout Form 1 that gets submitted as part of the closeout. Then there's an updated disclosure report, really nothing changed with it from the application. Certificate of accessibility, we go ahead and get these signed, but planning is exempt, so it's exempt in this case. And then there's also the closeout Form 2 that just is the basically settlement of the grant funds, which you've used them all, so there's no returning any money back like that. So
I'm sure you have a 1.5-year process.
So these can be lumped together as closeout documents if you want to approve them that way.
And it requires president's signature only? Okay.
Question from the floor.
Do I hear a motion to approve the president to sign the documents?
I make a motion to president of the board sign the documents for us.
Do I hear a second?
Objection?
Got a second from Joel. All in favor? Aye.
The floor asked to be recognized before signing the ADA disclosure. Document in front of you, sir.
Dana, do you want to address this, please?
Yes, this is a meeting of the Owen County Commissioners. They can decide what information they want to take at their meetings. There is no right for an individual attending the meetings to make any sort of objection to what's being done. That will be done,
Yeah.
hearing or if other comments allowed, or you have the ability to, state your issues. I would say that it's very difficult, and Mr. Burke,
Do you have the resolution?
say too much.
Copy of the signed
It's
resolution.
very difficult when and all the departments of the county government are sending emails.
Matt?
There was one, just as an example, there was an email I had.
Is that part of it?
Right, yeah, right here.
At 3 o'clock.
I had this set for that, so.
5 people got in at 7 o'clock this morning, and sent it forward to me. And it was all about this meeting, training this meeting, bonds. And the statute, the bonding statute is for those who actually physically handle money. And there is a list further down in the statute, they decided that lists those individuals who have to have a bond. And county commissioners don't have to have a bond. They don't handle more than $5,000 of government money physically in their hands. This is people from their stealing the money. And so there was an issue about crime bond doesn't work. Well, it does. The statute gives options that the county can do to sign this off. The problem with receiving emails like that, generating emails like that, is that it clogs up the county employees and the commissioner's time on things that really, like I said, that email was false. I mean, it was, so, also, it's, I think everybody needs to understand that commissioners, again, are elected officials, that they, they have done everything that they need to do, taking oaths of office, doing that, to conduct the business of the county. And it's up to them to make these decisions, whether we're going to sign paperwork or whatnot. It's up to them to make those decisions. And they must take final action in a public meeting, which that's what this is. They can take final action. They're not required to have public input or any item unless there's a specific hearing, like the planning commission had the hearing about the public input. That's when the public needs to speak, and even then, we can put restrictions on the amount of time. So I just want the county departments and the commissioners to know that just because you receive an email, you don't have to respond. If you want to, that's fine. In normal operations, it's kind of good practice to respond if you get a citizen that sends a question or something. Every once every 6 months or something. Yeah, that's fine to respond if you want to, and politically wise, encourage you to respond to that. But when you get inundated to where it clogs up the business that you're trying to conduct, you're not required to respond to those emails. Actually, you're not even required to read them. That's your prerogative as commissioners to take what information you wish to take and not. So I know that's been an issue here lately.
And I appreciate you touching on that very much.
5 days into it, but I just wanted you to know that what the rules.
And a lot of the requests or questions that have came through in the hundreds and hundreds of emails are actually, and unfortunately, related to the auditor's office. The auditor is the secretary or the clerk to the commissioners, and she holds 95% of that information. So even when it comes through us, we're going to, unfortunately, revert it to her because she's the one that's going to look up those documents because we don't have that information. We as commissioners in this county do not hold an office as actual physical office in this building.
There's a major difference between the right to access to public records and you can develop a form and procedures for that, which I forwarded to you, which you choose to add to the agenda today. But again, there's a requirement to respond to that. The use of a form is going to be very good for the county because it's very straightforward with the guidelines on how to complete the form. The Indiana Code allows you to use the form, and that way you don't get public records requests mixed in with a whole bunch of other narrative, and trying to sift through that and find out what what it is and what it's not. So that's the benefit of the form. So the auditor, again, the auditor doesn't have to read every email that they get either if they're getting inundated. But they have to respond if the auditor themselves receive a public records request for records within the auditor's office. Then, of course, there's a procedure for following and addressing that. But again, my would ask would be that your people like the auditor and the building department people are spending a lot of time that need to be devoted to county business, responding to emails that you don't need to be responding to if you choose not to. And it's up to you whether you accept that.
We'll get to that here in just a minute on that form. I appreciate that, Dana. Matt, we'll wrap up with you if there's nothing else.
That's all that I have, and I just want to thank you for allowing us the opportunity to be here today and work through this process.
Well, we thank you for all the hard work
Thank you.
you've put into this, the headaches and the aggravations that you've dealt with, I'm sure, and I know that there's members of the audience that's been part of that with you. So again, we thank you for everything that you've done.
I think the process played out the way it should. I think people were able to voice their concerns and we were able to address that. So I'm happy in that regard.
I can't imagine that we left anybody out.
I don't think so. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Sheriff Department. We've got surplus auction, I think. Do we have a resolution for that?
Yes, do I give to you all that all I can to the county attorney.
And Sam, again, I got so many papers up here, I'm trying to.
The county attorney, I give it to him, he has it counted, it was in the last area before that's your request.
Okay. Go ahead, Dana, if you've got that resolution. Yeah, here.
This is a resolution establishing a procedure for complying with the Access to Public Records Act. Whereas Indiana Code 36222 establishes the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen as the county executive. Whereas Indiana Code 514.3
What ordinance number was this again?
Ordinance or resolution.
Got it as
Over 2022-21.
-20. -21.
Okay, this ordinance, and ordinance declares certain personal property as surplus for Owen County Sheriff Department. Whereas Owen County Sheriff has determined that certain personal property currently in possession of the Sheriff's Department is no longer of value to the department and desires the property to be sold at public auction. And whereas pursuant to the provisions of Indiana Code 5-22-22 in sequence, the Owen County Board of Commissioners has determined to declare the property as surplus with an estimated total value of greater than $5,000. Now therefore, be it ordained by the Owen County Board of Commissioners the following: Section 1, personal property to be sold. The following items of personal property of the Owen County Sheriff's Department are declared surplus property and are hereby ordered to be sold to the highest bidder at public auction to be held on January 9th, 2023, on an internet auction site maintained by governors.com. There is a 2015 Ford Police Intercept utility with VIN 1FM 5K 8AR 7FG C16242, and another of the same vehicle with a VIN number 1FM 5K 8AR 7PGC 1639. Section 2, auction. Pursuant to Indiana Code 5-22-22-4.5, the purchasing agency may sell surplus property using an internet auction site that satisfies both of the following. First, the site is approved by the Office of Technology established by Indiana Code 413.121. And two, the site is linked to the electronic gateway administered by Indiana Code by the Office of Technology. The purchasing agency's posting of the sale at the internet auction must include a detailed description of the surplus property to be sold. The purchasing agency may pay the cost of conducting the auction on the internet site required by the person maintaining the auction. Section 3, notice of publication. Pursuant to Indiana Code 522.22.11a, notice of this sale must be given by publication at the time, place, and terms of the sale as provided by Indiana Code 5-3-1 in the county where the property is located. The publication shall be made at least 15 days before the date of the sale. Indiana Code 522.22.9. The auctioneer charged with conducting the above auction is hereby required to provide a copy of the following section of the Indiana Code 522.22.9 to any prospective buyer. And this code that they're referring to is the disposition of law enforcement vehicle repainting of vehicle required and the penalty involved in that. So if a purchasing agency disposes of a law enforcement vehicle that is a model year of 1994 or after and is painted in a color scheme of more than one color by transferring the vehicle to a person who operates the vehicle on a public highway in Indiana, the person must repaint the vehicle in a monochromatic color scheme or a color scheme that does not duplicate the color scheme of an Indiana law enforcement vehicle. Before the vehicle is operated on a public highway in Indiana, the person who will sell or otherwise transfer the vehicle to another person who will operate the vehicle on the public highway in Indiana, that person must repaint the vehicle in the same settings before the vehicle is sold or otherwise transferred to the other person or operator on the public highway. A person who will sell and otherwise handle the vehicle to another person who will not operate the vehicle on a public highway in Indiana, the person is not required to repaint the vehicle before the vehicle is sold or otherwise transferred to the other person's or another government body not required to repaint the vehicle before the vehicle is operated on a public highway in Indiana. Before a purchasing agency disposes of a law enforcement vehicle that is painted in a color scheme with one color, the purchasing agency must provide a copy of this subsection to the prospective purchaser of the vehicle. A person who violates this section commits a Class C offense. This ordinance shall be enforced and in effect immediately upon adoption and publication as required by law.
Thank you, Dana. Do I hear a motion to approve ordinance number 2022-21, the surplus of Sheriff Department vehicles?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2022-21.
Have a motion by Joel. Do I hear a second? Seconded by Bob. All in favor? Aye. Barely holding together, guys. Sam, you have anything else?
Yes, the courthouse security request list that you have in front of you, there's some things on there that we need to address immediately. There's a couple of them I've checked off, I've highlighted in yellow that I'm taking care of personally, it's already going to be done today. We also have a quote for some cameras that we need upgraded immediately. I mean, like soon, like today. We do have a quote, Jim's here, he has met with the chief of security, John Lauder, downstairs. I spoke with John about this as well. I asked the commissioner to please approve this camera update immediately so we get these done. It is a security factor here at the courthouse. And as head of security, I'm responsible to make sure everybody's safe and sound throughout the entire county. You just have that quote in front of you, I believe.
We do have, Sam, and I'll mention that here. We have a quote for 40 cameras. And I'm not gonna go through all the labor and all that. The total is $19,748. I believe that we can take care of this gentleman out of Cume Cap. We have the funds available there. So I would like to ask for a motion for approval, unless you have concerns or questions or anything you'd like to.
I've just got a question.
Sure.
Is this is to update the current stuff, right?
Inside the courthouse.
Inside, our dating equipment in here will be replaced with this.
Replace and add 8 other cameras that are, place John has felt that we need more cameras.
Sure, okay.
So they're full coverage of the courthouse.
So this is an upgrade as well as adding to the current.
Inside, outside.
And speaking of that, Bob, we upgraded the outdoor cameras back late spring, early summer sometime. Has it been that long ago? Time flies when you're having fun, right? Okay. So, yeah, this is replacing all of the existing cameras in the courthouse and upgrading 8. So do I hear a motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve.
I have a motion by Bob. Do I hear a second?
I second.
All in favor? Aye. Let's sign a copy of this estimate to move forward, and we'll make sure that Sheila has that on file. Anything else, Sam?
You also have in front of you, it's on the list, it's number 5. It's window tinting, from B&B Tenant Design. The gentleman came down and gave us a quote, either for just the front north door or the northwest and south. My recommendation is to tint the northwest and south windows. The quote's on the back page. If you just want to do the front entrance, it's $552. If you want to do all 3 entrances, which I do highly recommend, it's $1,776. I ask Commissioner to please approve the tinting of the windows.
Sam, if I'm not mistaken, at the last meeting, you said you were gonna take care of this. If we approve this, you're gonna take care of it out of your security budget or, okay.
I'm sorry I didn't highlight that, but it should have been highlighted.
And that's, I just wanna make sure for the public. I recommend if we're gonna do it, we do all 3 sides. Gentlemen, have any concerns?
Yeah, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we're looking at a total of, go ahead, Bob.
Do we need to do in there where the treasurer's office is? That used to be an entrance door, I don't know.
No,
So you just,
it's blocked up, no, you don't need that.
okay. I'm just asking because you're doing all the other doors and that used to be a main door at one time.
No, you can't get out there.
Okay.
So I'm gonna ask for a motion to approve the tinting of the
3 windows.
northwest and south entrances of the courthouse. Do I hear that motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the tinting of the front entrance windows, northwest and south entrance.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
That was motion by Joel, seconded by Bob. All in favor? Aye. And that will be paid from the sheriff's budget or security, however he sees best fit.
Number 4, number 5, number 14, we can pay for them.
Okay. And Sam, so you know, we have talked to John as well as working on these other avenues. We went out with the maintenance guy last meeting and discussed the concrete poles in front of the steps to block the entrance. So we are working on these other avenues, and as we get going through this, we'll check them off as we go.
Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Any questions for the sheriff, gentlemen? No?
I do.
Sheila does.
So for the surplus auction, recently there's been filing more than me in the newspaper, and we're paying 2 and 3 times. I just wanna know who's supposed to advertise it. Is it Sam putting it in the paper, or is it me putting it in the paper?
It was my understanding that we were gonna do that in your office,
Oh, okay,
always.
okay.
That was my understanding.
Okay.
That way we're all on the same page. You good with that, Sam? You're good with that, right? Okay. Well, that way you're in control of it. Well, we know what's going on. Okay. Owen County Tourism, I think there's several of you, so come on up.
Not that we're gonna stay that long.
Well, we hope not anyway.
This is our newest publication, and I wish I had a copy to give all of you, but actually it's our last one. It's been a popular item.
I'll share it with everyone here and make sure that it ends up in Sheila's hand before it's all over with.
Yeah, I wanted to get a chance to show it to you.
All right, thank you.
Or
I
I
wanted to,
speaks with the CBB, and this is,
Beth was with tourism.
that's our director. Jason.
Morning.
morning.
So we're back up for our annual agreement.
Yes. I just wanted to take a brief moment to discuss some of the things that we do, and I'll keep it brief. So the copy of the visitor's guide that we gave to you, that's something that we put together. We distribute it throughout the county, but also throughout the state through an ad in the state visitor's guide. We also put them in rest areas up on I-70 and visitor centers throughout the state. The hiking guide is our newest publication. It came out back in July, and we ran out of that. It's been a popular item, so we're in the process of getting more printed. We publish a monthly email newsletter, and we put ads in various different state-level publications. Some examples are the Indiana Festival Guide. We list all the major festivals in the county. The DNR Recreation Guide, we put in a 1/3 page ad, but next year we're doing a half page. We put an ad in the Indiana Travel Map and the State Visitors Guide. And these are materials that are across the state at different locations. We put ads in Bloom Magazine, as well as Terre Haute Living Magazine, and then that full page ad that I gave you a copy to look at, that's in the Terre Haute Tribune Star newspaper. And then we sponsor some different things in the county. For example, the 5K and 10K races at McCormick Street State Park, events at the Tivoli, farmers market, entertainment, fireworks show at Weaver State Recreation Area. We're one of the sponsors of the playground, the new playground project at Gosport for the town playground. We're one of the sponsors of the Flowers downtown, as well as the Flowers Alley Highway in the Triangle. And the downtown Christmas decorations, we made a contribution to that as well. So some of those are just examples of what we do. And if you have any questions, I'd be glad to discuss it with you.
I've got a couple things. I know Bob's probably got some stuff as well, but
Unless you beat me to it.
well, I'll tell you what, we'll let you go first. How's that?
Well, the only thing is, other part of my marriage wants to know what you do as far as Owen County. The lady before you put everything in the paper, she put it on Facebook, she worked very, very hard promoting Owen County.
That's true.
I've seen nothing from you. Yeah, I mean, we've had people come to us and ask one particular, he has an event every year, and you do nothing for him.
Well,
As far as the poultry down there, you do nothing, absolutely nothing for him.
we
Huh?
did,
I want him to defend himself, man. I mean, you're good and stuff, but I'm really quite disappointed in what you do, because I don't see where you do a whole lot, because a lot of this here is copied from DNR, everything else. I mean, well, what's your ideas in here? What have you done?
well, I'm glad to answer your questions.
Glad, thank
So,
you.
Let's start with the poultry show. Since you
Uh-huh.
brought that up as a specific example, we do advertise that on Facebook. We put up flyers. we take our brochures and have it there at the registration table for people to pick up. And you've got a copy of it now, the brochure. So those list places to stay, places to eat, shops, things like that, attractions around the county, like McCormick's Creek and Cataract Falls, and various things like that. So when people register at the poultry show, and as you know, it brings in 50 to 60 families from different, well, from all different states, really. So they all have an opportunity to pick up one of those. And the people at the registration table, they know about that, so they help promote that too. And I have set up an information booth at the poultry show before as well. Now, last couple of times, they didn't have space for us because they had so many entries. So that's why we started setting up the registration table. But I have been there before with a table in one of the buildings with Owen County material spread out.
Well, that was one of the comments that I had as well. I actually went down to the show this year and there was folks from about 6 or 7 different states, pretty good crowd down there. I would like to see us set up a booth for tourism down there to promote our campgrounds, our restaurants, our park. I think it's important, so just want to bring that up. And I had a couple of calls from some of the area campgrounds that felt that they weren't getting any promotion. And again, I'm just speaking for them. I don't run their business. I'm just relaying the message that we get. So if we can do anything to help those, we got some great campgrounds out here throughout the county. So I need to make sure that we're promoting those people the best that we possibly can.
We're fortunate to have a campground.
Very fortunate, and some of them are extremely nice, bring in people from a lot of different areas. So whatever we can do to help those folks out, to help grow our community, we're all for that. So that's all comments that I had.
Bob, there's one other thing I wanted to comment on with your questions. A lot of the promotions that we do are to visitors. And so some of that isn't always seen locally. For example, putting things in visitor centers around the state. But also like the state festival guide where we list all of the major events in the county. We take out a full page ad, and poultry shows are one of the things that we put in there. And see, that has a distribution of 500,000 copies around the state. And then the DNR recreation guide that we put ads in, that has a distribution of 225,000 copies, including at the state fair, the DNR puts it there. And then the state travel map is in visitor centers across Indiana.
Well, I was just looking at this, just take the instance for the Christmas lights on the square and stuff. The only thing I've seen advertised for Chamber of Commerce, that's bringing all the people in and stuff. I mean, and my wife had to show me that on Facebook, because I don't take that, I just for my own business stuff. But, I mean, I'm not trying to downgrade you or anything, I just think you should be, sometimes look at more on the local level.
Sure.
Because what we wanna promote, Spencer, we wanna bring people in here and stuff. Michael, go ahead.
Okay, they define tourism as attracting people more than 50 miles away. And they want us to use our monies to bring those people, and we try to do that. That's not to say we take away from the locals.
Right.
We do have a grant program that we pay to different places around the county.
Well, I think both have to be working
Keep
together.
that up, the general stores and Cataract and some of those up there, we do help a lot locally, but it's not, we don't publicize, we don't go out for headlines, we just go out and help the community.
Yeah, I like to see it be. I mean, that's my own personal opinion, I don't know what these other two commissioners think and stuff, but like I said, I'm done. I'm off my
Well, I
stuff now.
appreciate the comments, so if we don't hear that,
Right.
we can put more.
Exactly.
We appreciate both ways and stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
If we don't get feedback, we don't know where we're at.
That's
So,
right.
and that's us sitting up here is the same way, so.
we appreciate the discussion and it's not nice to see you taking an interest and asking questions. I think that's important.
Thank you.
I did want to mention, do you get our email newsletter? Because that had the Christmas lights for the dome in
No,
there.
I did not get any email from you.
You might put us on your email list.
I did from Marcy, but.
Okay, we will.
Yeah, if you'd like to be on our email.
Well, that way if we get a question from a business in town, we can say, yeah,
Yeah.
this is what's going on, that type of thing. That helps a little bit. We
Yeah.
appreciate that. Well, with all that being said, do I hear a motion to approve the tourism agreement for 2023?
I'll make that motion.
Have a motion by Bob. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded by Joel. All in favor? Aye, and this requires only one signature, gentlemen, if you're good with that.
Thank you.
Thank you, folks. Have a good day. Greg, I'm gonna jump you up in front of the ARPA folks real quick so we can get you back. I know that we had discussed, unless you tell me otherwise, we're going to table all highway discussion to a meeting on the 8th at 2 o'clock. We have several bids for bituminous, gravel, pipes, bridges, so on and so forth. And it takes quite some time to open all those up. The attorney has to read all those bids. So we are going to table all those. I do have a list of everyone that has sent one in. If you want, I can read those real quick so you know where we're at. We have asphalt materials, Corn Main Waterworks, E&H Bridge and Grading, E3 Bridge, Hanson Agri, Midwest, Lincoln Park Stone, Martin Marietta, Milestone Contractors, Rogers Group, S&G Excavating, US Ag, Energy Sales Co-Alliance, and E&B Paving. So that's who we have currently with bids in hand. So go ahead, Dave.
Any of the bidders present?
Yeah. I didn't hear my competitor mentioned, so I would assume I'm sold bid.
Yeah, apparently so. If you didn't hear him mentioned in that,
I don't see the Milestone people here, we might want to open those, but they're not here.
yeah, we're gonna hold all those until the 8th at 2 o'clock. That's this Thursday. I think Sheila's already advertised that, or we've talked about that. So we should be good to go. We'll open all those bids at 2 o'clock on Thursday. Once they're gone over, they'll be laid out here on the table so all the different contractors can go over them and take a look at
Won't
them.
be accepting any more bids after.
We are, no, it's closed as of today. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. I just wanted to read that list for Greg so he knows who's, yeah.
And he won't,
Commissioners, as long as my full agenda can be heard on Thursday, that's okay, because they'll be letting community crossing tomorrow. And the governor's office has announced that, so we'll be able to report on that in the next commissioners meeting. And I'd also like to thank the commissioners and council and Sheila as well for the work we've done in the last week to get things going. But we've been able to hire 3 people. 2 of them showed up and they are working today. The other work should be done and ready to work tomorrow. And a lot of that is due to the raise that we got. So thanks.
Glad to hear that. That's the whole purpose, and if it's getting us a good staff, that's what we're looking for, so outstanding.
Thank you, Jim.
So I'm gonna make a motion that we table all highway discussion until our Thursday meeting at 2 o'clock, which will be a solely highway meeting only.
I'll second that.
All right, all in favor? Aye. That was a motion by me, second by Bob. Thank you, Greg. And if you didn't hear that, the community crossings letting will be tomorrow. We are in for $1 million there, and hopefully we'll get our fair share. So, all right, ARPA, come on up, gentlemen. Not sure who all we have here this morning, but and I'm gonna ask a quick question before we get started to John. I talked to Mike earlier. We had kind of committed to $250,000 from the county as well as the town of Spencer. Has the town of Spencer spent their $250,000 yet?
Not in totality, no.
Okay, and I asked Mike that, and he said you'd be here, you was the man. so.
I said Cheryl.
I just want to put John on the spot there a little bit.
He was jumping.
Yeah.
Yeah, we like.
So, the reason I asked that, John, this board feels if we can put together a complete package with what you have and what we have for one project, I think that that's the best for the community, instead of splitting it up. So, I guess you'll have to let us know what you have left, and you don't have to let us know today, of course.
Yeah,
But
I
this-
know some of it has been spent on wastewater, our 2 wastewater projects, but not much.
Okay. But I think that that's kind of where we were going when we discussed this a year ago, or however long it's been.
It's been a while.
Yes, it has been a while, and I just think it would be in the best interest of all of us to make a big impact instead of splashes in a puddle.
It would help if we had more money, of course, we
Sure,
all want more money, but to make an impact on our county and housing and things that we need, it takes a lot of money to set that up and get it going.
Yep, sure
Whatever we
does.
can work out, we're willing to.
Work with you.
well, and we're glad to hear that and looking forward to that. I know that whoever's here today is wanting an answer when they walk out the door. I'd be happy to give them that answer, but until we figure out what we've got dollars and cents, I definitely want to put that in a complete project. And I think that's the best interest, unless you guys have got a different thought process. I think we can do more with more, if that makes any sense.
Combine the two.
Yeah. All right.
All right, well, I'm here on behalf of EVP, the water company for the county. We're putting in a request for the $250,000 in the ARPA funds to run a water main, 8-inch water main down State Road 43, starting at Hartsgravel Road going north, approximately 3,500 feet. It's to tie in existing 8-inch into an existing 8-inch water main that is along State Road 43. The goals with this is finishing up a loop. We have everything on the east and south side of the river. So even when you don't think of just going across the river here and heading down that direction, all comes from the East Booster, which is on 43, feeds around, comes back that way. So it would give us a more robust system out there, and it also helps with they already have sewer out at the open campsite and things like that. It's not open camp anymore, it's been bought out. I don't remember what the name of it is, but they're getting ready to start a housing project out there, they're working on it. 4 Oaks. So they've been in and chatted with us, and they're getting ready to start. We have other developers have been reaching out to us for that area, out in that area, different pocket spots. There's been a lot of growth on Hartsgravel Road with some small home additions along there. We're really pushing our limit to what we can supply right there in that area. This would give us a loop to also get water 2 different directions to get out to that area. Right now, there's a 4-inch line down through there. 4-inch is not adequate to even serve what we have coming back just down Hartsgravel to 3-inch. So that's what we're looking for. And we got a cost estimate of $443,000 for the construction design of it. Includes 2 road bores on 43. EVP is looking to put matching funds in to complete the project if it's approved. And I've talked to the town and to REMC, and they're here today also.
Do you have this in a proposal that you can present to us?
Yes,
Okay.
So all this is on 43?
yes.
So you don't intend to expand any more south or anything like that in your plans right now?
EVP has already put in, we're getting a small amount of grant money from the state. We will be running water lines down 67 to Lanes Addition, and that's in the works right now. We have another project going on the west side. We're in the process of trying to get bid out to bid in January. It's going to tie in State Road 246 from Vandalia to Patricksburg. and also Du Bois Road from 246 back to State Road 46 down Du Bois Road. We're already starting a project we're doing in-house in Monroe County to go from county line to the tractor place over there. Put a 12-inch line through there. So we have about $8 million worth of projects that we're doing right now that we're either self-funding or going after long-term financing.
With that 8-inch main that you're talking there on Hards Gravel Road, will that give us room for expansion to move south towards Franklin Road eventually?
Yes, and that was our goal, was we have to have that loop completed to be able to keep going south. We've had people call and ask us about moving to the south in that area, and that would be the first step of that project to be able to do that.
I think a lot of people in here know that we had the county owns 185 or 186 acres out there on Franklin Road that's split between Franklin Road, and we've have now had that appraised and would like to put that out for possible sale, but we've got to give somebody an idea. Yeah, we're working on this. You know, that's a great potential for growth out there, housing obviously, and so just a question to make sure that we're moving in that direction.
I think there's been some housing requests right there in that area too for some like 15, 20 home pocket things. And we're at the point now where we're having a hard time to say, yes, we could serve those, where this would help us. And, you know, it doesn't seem like much, but to add 15 homes here, 10 homes there in little bitty areas where it doesn't have a lot of impact on the land use and things, that's a great way to go, you know, as far as.
You said west of Vandalia to Patricksburg.
Yeah.
You currently have water there.
We have, for just a short little period coming down out of Vandalia, it only goes a quarter mile. We're going all the way out.
Right, so there's water clear on Smithville Road.
Yeah,
Which is
spots out
west.
there, we're actually, there's nothing on 246 during that.
It comes around.
It goes out Patricksburg, and then we got a small line that runs all the way from Spencer to Bowling Green, and it's got a bunch of key branches out there. So we're looking to tie that in, so we have a loop out there also. Kind of what we're doing over here, but it's about a $2 million project out there instead of a smaller project like this.
Well, it sounds like that this one that we're talking about gives us room for potential growth, and is what we are looking for and need, so.
And the other thing is we have, the state likes to do multi-projects together. The problem is when we try to work together, sewer and water has to be separated by a foot. You can't use the same trench. So if they like to use that dig once terminology, but we can't do that. So then foot apart. So
sure,
we have a pretty big hole to lay their pipe in our pipe at the same time. But we're trying to support growth.
No, we appreciate that. And if you can get us something in black and white, kind of an idea of what you just mentioned, where you're looking to expand and move, that sure helps us. REMC?
Yeah, so I just want to support his request. Obviously, it's about getting infrastructure out to rural Owen County. We support that. We think that given the money that's on the table, we'd like to see it go to them.
Well, that's an interesting comment, and we appreciate that.
Yeah, so just wanted to point out, I'm very passionate about seeing the folks of Owen County have the infrastructure they need, and sometimes that passion bugs over a little bit, so.
And I appreciate that, yeah. Well, and we want you guys to grow in our county as well. Don't ever think that we don't support you, because we do. We're just trying to figure out the best avenue for everyone. So, and thank you for being here and making that comment. I guess with that being said, I'm going to talk to the gentleman from the town of Spencer here and kind of get your input. Do you think that this is something that we could get together on, collaborate with, and?
I would sure hope so, Gary, for the whole board. Water and sewer and broadband, electric, everything, I mean, is vital for any growth we have. And so I know that currently the town council has Texas Pike and the sewer project going on, and talked with the owners out here at Four Oaks, and that is gonna be coming along the line very right behind. So with that, then, if you got sewer, I gotta have water to run the sewer. So to get all that accomplished, it takes a lot of work between us. And I would hope that we can sit down and talk and get something hammered out that would benefit everybody.
As more funds are available, ARP funds, I think it's a yearly thing that the state takes a look at. We need to get together, get a plan for it, and improve both the town and the county.
I think we need to work together moving forward on all these projects, I really do. We're not gonna be any good separate, we're gonna do each other a lot more good in this county, a lot more good, the town, whatever.
We're happy that sewer is being utilized out there, but we can only go to a certain capacity.
Sure.
And if we do that, then we gotta come and get it expanded as well.
Well, you know, I've made this comment before, and I'm not embarrassed to make it again. For some reason, the town and the county over the past years have kind of bumped heads, didn't go in the same direction, and I'd really like to see that turn the corner and go in a positive way for all the citizens of Owen County and the town of Spencer. So, Marcy, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, with all due respect, County Commissioners, I feel like what you see here with this unprecedented collaboration of water, sewer, and fiber together just goes back to the comprehensive plan that the County Commissioner just passed. The plan that we have for the county, here we see working out how we can use that plan for the benefit of the community. So my question would be, direction from the County Commissioners, would BVP Water still have time within this year to bring a proposal to their next meeting?
I think so, yeah. I mean, I'd like to see us collaborate before the end of the year and kind of get this thing moving forward if we can do that.
Well, we can have a conversation with Cheryl, see where we stand with those monies and everything, and we sit down and talk. Sure. I don't see what he.
So if you can get us something in black and white, you know, an actual proposal of what you've got there, I think we can move forward. I know that we have a ton of broadband money coming in from the state. Bob and I were just at the Commissioners Conference last week. Got some information from Stephanie Yeager just today or Friday, whenever it was, about a lot of money coming in for that. So we're looking forward to you guys getting involved in that, and I'm sure you are as well. So we want to make sure that we take this in every direction we possibly can. You guys have any?
I like it. Sounds good.
Sounds good. All right. Well, if we can get that proposal in our hands, email form, give it to Sheila to where we've got it. We can make a decision, get with the town, and hopefully by our final meeting of the year, we can get this thing wrapped up.
Thank you.
All right. Thank
It's
you.
all brand new to us, John. It's all brand new to us, so.
Yeah, I can't be telling me.
Made you smile, didn't it?
Yeah. Well, we might as well try to get more.
I take that back. For some reason, this appeared in front of me all of a sudden, so I do have your proposal that you have in your hands.
He just
Pretty
passed it.
simple, I mean, I get you like white numbers for
Yeah.
everything, but it's.
If you can give us, the biggest thing is what the town and us can do together so we know what we can offer. I think that's the,
We just know that they have a lot of projects going in
Right.
house to try to take care of it.
Right. Here's Sheila. You have one of these?
I had it, that's what he passed out.
Okay. So I said I got so many papers in front of me, I can't keep track of them all. Okay.
What else would you want from us?
I think that's, you've got everything on here that we need now. I apologize. Like I said, I got so many papers here that keep falling in front of me, but I think we're good. Is there anything else you guys need? Give Dana a copy of it as well.
Just back up a moment, the tourism, we didn't get to sign our share of that on the thing. If
She's got it.
We
Yeah.
can take care of that.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I signed it, she's got it.
Thank you.
I thought I handed it back to you, Sheila, maybe I didn't. Maybe it went down there. We'll make sure that you get it, Mike, before we get out of here, how's
No
that?
problem, no problem.
Just a reminder, you guys already know this, if one of the commissioners meets with others and reports back to the other commissioner, that's fine. But if you want more than one commissioner to be in on that discussion, then you post it as a work session. So in scheduling, you just want to make sure you have enough time to post it as a work session.
Sure, okay. Do you guys have a town council meeting coming up anytime soon?
Today.
Okay, so you might be able to answer that question this evening then.
Yeah, very possible.
Okay. May just show up to that and we'll go from there. Okay. I think we are down to elected officials and department heads. Chris, you got something? Yeah, we'll do that in our commissioners part.
Okay.
Go ahead, Chris.
Just real quick, just let you guys know that, the ambulance package went out. I haven't had any requests as of yet for, the package. So. Yeah,
So no one's bid on it yet or accepted?
Not yet, but we've got till the next meeting.
Okay.
I don't know if Sheila's had any requests. And then, I sent out, a request for quotes for heart monitors and defibrillators, trying to get one that oldest one rolled out this year yet, at least a quote in place so I can encumber funds. And, so those are due back for your next commissioners meeting also. And then, next week sometime I'd like to take 3 days off and go on a quick trip. So,
You wouldn't be going down to Gatlinburg, would you? You have no problem with me with that, Chris. You deserve it for sure. Do we anticipate any price increases in this? I know that we were looking at around $200,000.
You know, without putting numbers out there, in case there's other ambulance builders that would get the minutes of the meeting or anything.
Right.
I really think that it's gonna come in, if this company requests a quote or a bid package, I really think because of the mess up on the last one, I think it'll come in real close with just the additional cost of
Power system.
the power system.
Okay.
I think, but I could be.
Well, the way prices are, you never know.
I
So
could be, and I'm also working on another, proposal you guys did after the first of the year. So to possibly do a remount of one of the ambulances, where they take the box off, take a truck out from under it, slide metal under. Of course, they remanufacture the box as far as, painting it all and fix anything that's wrong with it. New air conditioning and heat system, stuff like that. I'm hoping that by going that route, we can get one a little bit quicker than 2 years. We may, there's a company down in Georgia that does it, there's one down, actually, there's one in Indianapolis that does it. There's one in Ohio, so maybe we can get one for 2 years.
So just replacing the box, only keeping the existing cabin chassis that we have.
Just replacing the
Cabin chassis.
Cabin chassis,
Yeah.
keeping the box. Okay, okay.
Yeah, so.
The other way around.
Yeah.
Yeah, flip flop.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Preliminary start on that stuff.
Okay,
Just an update on what's going on.
sounds good, and enjoy your 3 days off.
Thanks, guys.
Commissioner Britton,
Yes.
if I may. I'm gonna put another hat on, put my tall roofing hat on. Is there anything going on with the health department building?
There is. We just approved the architect engineering plans today, so they can put that out for bid.
Okay.
Yeah, I just told Mike, I'm sure you guys are wanting to get that sidewalk open back up, and I know you're holding material for us.
Yes, we are.
So yes, we are moving forward on that, approved that this morning. Hopefully they'll have those bid specifications out to us within a couple of weeks, and we'll be able to get started on that.
Thank you very much.
No problem, no problem. Any other elected officials, department heads? Sheila?
Past 10, do you want to do the public request?
Yep, that was next thing I was gonna do. Well,
Another thing I had was that you had the blue paper in front of you that is the monthly treasurer's report, as well as you have the monthly financial report. And do you want me to continue with what Jim was doing, that kind of did a breakdown with where?
the fund lines, yep, very much so, and I appreciate you doing that, we'll continue that. Sheila had brought up We have put together a public request form. Dana has put this together for us. We have that form here that will be used by every department within the county. These forms will be available at each office. Dana, I'm gonna let you read this resolution. I've got it down as Resolution 2022-019. If that's correct, go right ahead.
Okay, this is a resolution for the procedure for complying with the Access to Public Records Act. Whereas Indiana Code 36222 establishes the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen as the county executive. Whereas Indiana Code 51333 authorizes any public agency to require a person to make a request for public records utilizing the form provided by said public agency. And whereas the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen finds it in the best interest of Owen County for such form to contain guidelines for the public records requests that are not inconsistent with the Access to Public Records Act. Now therefore be it resolved by the Board of Commissioners of the County of Owen the following. Section 1, Public Records Request Form. Attachment 1, which is the form itself, which you have before you. Here it is required to be completed by any person submitting a public records request to the Owen County government, including any and all commissions, councils, boards, departments, offices, agencies, or similar bodies thereof. A public records request will only be accepted during the normal business hours of the entity receiving the request. Public records request guidelines, section 2, attachment 2, the list of guidelines. Are the public record request guidelines to be used in completing the public records request form. The Owen County Council has the authority to establish any fees that may be associated with fulfilling a public records request. Any fee schedule is approved by the Owen County Council is to be added to the public records request guidelines. This resolution shall be in full force and effect immediately upon its adoption and publication, as required by law, passed and adopted by the Board of Commissioners of the County of the State of Indiana. The public request form includes the name of the requested party, their address, city, state, zip, their telephone number and email address, and the date that they are submitting the request. The next area is the name of the department from which the records are requested. And the next is to identify in detail, emphasis on detail, the records you are requesting. There's an explanation when someone requests records, they've got to be where the staff member fulfilling that request knows what records they are. This might be a good time also to say that counties don't have to create records, they only provide what records they do that. If there's comments to it. There's a check one, I request to inspect or buy copies of the records. Check one, I request to receive my records by in-person pickup, U.S. mail, or email. And then there's a signature form. Down at the bottom is a place where the county the county person receiving the request sign it that they're receiving it or write the name in, the date and time it was received, because timing is important in these. The date and time of the initial response. There are requirements for to respond within a certain amount of time. That doesn't mean that you have to provide the during that time period. It's just you need to respond if you're in receipt. I can prepare a draft response for you as well. And the date and time that the request was finalized. And those last two things, the initial person fulfilling that would be paid out. And it also includes its faithful method of receipt. It depends on how the request is received, what the response time is. The public records request guidelines. Please fill out the public request form completely. All requests must be delivered to the Owen County Government Commission, councils, boards, departments, offices, agencies, or similar bodies thereof, the information from which of whom the public records are requested. So whoever has the records in their possession is who they should be asking to perform the request. All records of a public agency are public records and must be disclosed upon request, unless the request falls under an exception provided by the Access to Public Records Act of Indiana, codified in Indiana Code 5. A public agency must state that a record falls under an identified exception in order to withhold a specific record. The APRA requires that all requests for inspection or copy of public records must identify those records with reasonable particularity. This means that the request must include a description of their record with enough detail to allow the public agency staff to locate and produce the requested record. Please include any relevant information such as names, addresses, and date ranges that will help clarify the request that simply poses a question without identifying specific records or documents will be denied. APRA requires a public agency to respond to requests within a specified time. This response does not mean that the requested record must be produced at that time. First, the agency must, at a minimum, acknowledge the receipt of the request. Second, the records, if disclosable, must be produced within a reasonable time after the request is received. Positive for a second. A reasonable time is based on many factors. It's based on the staffing and the amount of the records. If somebody's asking for many records, it takes the staff a long time to put those together. So you may have extended wait times for public records requests, and it's very inclusive. I do recommend that the agency and department receiving the requests fulfill what they can as they move along. While fulfilling public records requests is one of the duties of those people in those offices and departments, it's not broken. They do have to take care of it.
A lot of these departments, Dana, have one or two people in their office, and it's very difficult for them to carry on day-to-day business and still try to get these things taken care of, so.
They'll still have to respond, well, there's a reason
Correct.
time may be longer than what may be desired. Okay, continuing on, under APRA, an agency is not required to create any records in response to a public record request. An agency is only required to disclose existing records. Fees. Public agencies may charge fees for copies and postage. No fees may be charged for inspection. The fee scheduled for copy or printed materials, including scanning records to produce an electronic version and postage, is as follows. And that fee schedule again would need to go through the county council to be inserted. Important note, the fees set above are pursuant to Indiana Code 51438, and Owen County requires payment for fees in advance. So once they know how many copies it's going to take and what the amount is, they can require receipt of that amount first. Otherwise, it's in the collection.
Correct.
Issue. So I believe that, again, this is in the best interest of the county, especially the amount of records requests that they have to have an actual procedure. And it's important for the request to go to the department requested it, the office requested, because it's not responsibility to get it in an office it doesn't apply to and send it somewhere else. Their best course of action would just be to time if they don't have those records. And it's easy to say who does. I know that many of the records, the way it's been working in practice, records requests go to multiple people, but they may not even be the records that are in their offices, and it creates a big burden when you try to find the right person.
Correct.
To send it to. So the statute does allow for that to be required of the requester to make sure that they identify particularly the records and ask the person in the office that owns those records.
Thank you, Dana. Gentlemen, any questions, concerns? I want to make a motion that we approve resolution number 2022-019, a resolution establishing procedure for complying with the Access to Public Records Act. Do I hear a motion to approve?
Oh, I thought you made the
I
motion.
thought, okay, maybe I did. I
I
apologize.
thought you said, but I was gonna
Do
second
I have a
that.
second it then?
Go
Bob
second that.
seconded it. Motion by myself, Sheila, I'm sorry. Seconded by Bob. All in favor? Aye. Sheila, I would make sure that we get copies of these to each office so they have their own. I don't want everybody coming to the auditor's office asking for copies for some other office. So, okay. We're down to commissioner comments. We need to finalize our ARPA vote that Jim had discussed, the council had finally approved the appropriation for the, Sheila, you'll have to help me with this. It's all in lost revenue. There was $500,000 for road plan that's been approved, both by us and the council. 400, and do you have those numbers in front of you? And if you don't, we can work through it.
I thought it was the full 500,000.
Well, it's roughly $1 million that we're gonna use to pay down those county debts, one for the highway grants and the other one for payroll clearinghouse. We're close here, and you can put the numbers in. That's roughly $1 million, and the remaining balance of that $2 million goes to the council to use towards general fund. And how that works is they use that money to pay debts out of general fund and basically end up with an extra $500,000 in that fund. And that will be worked out through the auditor's office, and we just need to make final approval on that. So do I hear a motion to approve, finalize the ARPA plan as presented?
I'll make a motion to approve the ARPA plan.
Joe makes the motion. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Let's see.
Like, on that, can we start January 1st and moving forward with moving claims over?
We're not gonna spend any, we don't need to do anything until then, so I think that's the cleanest way to start, don't you?
I don't want to end the year and
No.
it's tough enough to.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think we're better off starting at January 1st. I know the highway side of that, none of that money will be spent until springtime anyway, when the weather's decent. Any other comments?
No.
Do you gentlemen want to allow me one comment from the floor? We do not have to allow that this morning. Or do you want to adjourn?
Gary, that's up to your discretion. I have no qualms either way.
I'm gonna give you 1 minute.
Okay, thank you. I want to thank you, sir, for executing the request for public records. And as I want to ask for this a lot, it would be very helpful if you could please generate a list of departments. What records might fall under those departments? For instance, there are departments that are not in this building. There are entities that are part of the government that we as the public really do not know how to reach, what their addresses are, and under the structure, who has what records and where they are. So in order to refine and less the amount of work that you have to do, if you could produce just a county list of departments, phone numbers.
Those departments should be on our county website.
They're not, sir.
Yes, they are.
Every department is broke down on there.
As an example, surveyor, I'm just giving you, surveyor's office is not within this building.
Yeah, and we do not have a surveyor's office because we're a small county.
Right, so how do you reach She's part of economic development, redevelopment, so something of that.
We'll work on that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Thank you, folks. Appreciate it. That's yours. Yeah, I don't want to know.
I tried to steal yours, I heard that, I tried to steal mine.
Oh, guys, here, don't leave.
Okay.
Go sign this.
Yeah.
Yes.
Sheriff?
May I just look back up?
Joel? Gotta know what's
Well, I just wanted you to have this.
Oh, I got some.
It's probably in the basket.